And I've got a lot of questions for you.
I'm ready.
I'm going to tell the story later, though.
All right. We'll be ready.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Let's get this turned off here. Well, first of all, I want to begin with some very specific Sanford area things because it's so important. So we're going to save the reopening for the second half of this. Very first thing on your tables, you're going to see a little brochure called Sci-Hi, PSI. PSI stands for Problem Solving Incubator. And the reason I put this in front of all of our business leaders is that we are always looking for apprenticeships and internships for students, and a lot of them run right through Sci-Hi, which is located, it's a very small school within a school, right at Seminole High School. So let me tell you a little bit about Sci-Hi. I think it's the coolest thing because it is students' ideas, students built the concept, and it is sitting there today because of students. So several years ago, Mrs. Jobs, Steve Jobs' widow, put out a competition to reinvent American high schools. And we, Dr. Calderon and I, we always meet with our students. We're trying to get feedback, really trying to figure out what kids want and need. And they didn't need us to figure that out. We needed to pull it from them what education should look like. So we had a core group of students with a facilitator, an adult facilitator, to work on this grant that Mrs. Jobs put out there. There were $10 million prizes to reinvent American high school. $10 million as the superintendent, very excited. And so the kids put together an awesome electronic application for Sci-Hi. Well, we quickly found out that 1,500, 1,700 other districts applied. I knew there were only 10 prizes, so I kept meeting with the kids and said, don't get discouraged. We'll still take some of these ideas and bring them forward to our schools in the future. And their premise was very, very simple, is that kids don't want to memorize and regurgitate the information on Friday. They want to solve problems. They want to be part of the community. They want to be part of the business community. They want to be part of the government community. They want to help solve real problems. And that's where their name came from, Problem Solving Incubator. So if you ever get a chance to go to it's in the 9th grade center at Seminole High School, although it's a 9th to 12th grade program, we just housed it there, you will see our students working for high school credit, mastering their standards, solving real problems that have been presented to them. If any of you have any large-scale type problems you'd like the kids to tackle, they are awesome. And they deal, I think a lot of people think it's only STEM, and they do a lot of STEM work, but a lot of social sciences and work like that. So the students are very much in tune to this. So the kids put this whole concept together, submitted the application, and then it felt like American Idol. And I got a call from 1,500, I think I got an email, the first one was an email that we were in the top 500. I said, that's great, but still 10 out of 500 is pretty slim. And then I got another email, the kids were in the top 100, and I kept calling them and telling them, okay, we're in the top 100. I got another call, we're in the top 50. Got a call, we're in the top 20, and by then, now my brain is starting to spend the $10 million. And on a Sunday night, before the big press conference in Los Angeles, they called me to say we did not make the top 10. Oh. However, Tina, you remember this. Could you please have all the kids in the TV studio, we're sending a film crew, just to say hello to the top 20. And so I told the kids, okay, let's be grateful losers. Don't say anything mean. We'll take some of these concepts and bring them forward. So they announced the top 10, and the kids were very gracious. And at the end of the press conference, Mrs. Jobs herself came out and said there was one program that really caught her eye, and she believes it's the future of education, and I'd like to give $1 million to the children of Seminole County for putting together this idea. So Sci-Hi was born from our kids. So I'm just so, when you walk through there, it's more than just walking through a regular school, because you know how it was formed. It wasn't a group of 50 and 60-year-old adults sitting together, but it was actually our students who put together this. So it sits right here in Sanford. We have national leaders who come to see this program on a rather regular basis, and I think you just need to know about it. It is sitting right here. We like it so much that I want to replicate the program and put it at more schools, because I think that's what excites all of us. You know, how many, I remember when I taught algebra, so I'm guilty of this. I taught, you know, if train A leaves station A at 10 o'clock going 70, you know, and train B leaves, okay, kids don't really want to do fake work. They want to really solve problems. So Sci-Hi, I'd just like you to know about it, and if you ever have any opportunities for internships or questions, we have a whole e-pathways department, educational pathways. We look for internships, we look for apprenticeships. I think some of you have participated in our previous job fairs, but to me, it's all about getting kids out to work, to interact. We cannot replicate some of the experiences that you give children. We cannot replicate those in the classroom. And they need to interact with folks and work side by side with people to learn things. So internships, apprenticeships, a huge, huge part of who we are. So now you can talk about Sci-Hi. You have a brochure. You should be very, very proud of it. And speaking of things you should be proud, Jeff mentioned on Monday, Tina, how many years did it take for us to open Pinecrest? I was thinking about that this morning. 5. I feel like forever, right? Since we were kids. We opened the most state-of-the-art elementary school we have in Seminole County, right here in Sanford. Pinecrest Elementary School. The old school is gone. It's been demolished except for one wing. We did have to save some of the bricks. We had so many families who were interested. But our most modern $26 million facility opened on Monday. It is state-of-the-art. It is now the Pinecrest School of Innovation. Not only will it serve Sanford residents and students who live in the Pinecrest community, but we've opened it up as a magnet for when there are seats available for other families who will definitely want their children to be there. But we have to get you out to see Pinecrest Elementary School. But as Jeff mentioned, we have put a lot of, and money is real important yet, but a lot of resources and some of our best people right here in Sanford to bring a great education to this community. I'm the former principal of Seminole High School and the founder and the first principal of Millennium, and those were all, you know, obviously long before I was involved with the board. That was just the vision and passion of this district to provide great schools, especially in areas where you have a higher number of students on free and reduced lunch. It's all about opportunity, it's all about equity, it's all about that. So just two, I could go on and on about Sanford, I'll just talk about those two today. Pinecrest School of Innovation, I can't thank the board enough for their support and patience. It took a long time to get here. I know yesterday, Monday when Tina and I walked through, we just have goosebumps. It's been on paper for so long. I felt like I knew my way around. I had looked at the blueprint so often, and I had to keep, I call it value engineering, make this a little smaller, cut this. As the prices were going up, I kept, you know, I think I'm an architect, so I kept being like, no, let's fix this. But the school is beautiful, it's bright, it's modern, it's well lighted, it has high ceilings, lots of glass inside, just a beautiful, beautiful facility. And of course, we only opened to about 50% of the students because of the situation that we're in now. So now I'll jump to reopening, because I know that's why you had me here. I have to give my little Sanford plug before I start. We'll go back to fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is the last 9 weeks of last school year. And I will always remember March 14th, my wife's 60th birthday. I hope she's not watching this. I don't like to tell people her age. Our plane was landing in Chicago to visit my daughter and son-in-law, my grandson, who live up there. And before we left, we were hearing quite a bit about coronavirus, COVID, and in my mind, honestly, I was thinking, we were really thinking about it was really a flu, it was going to be gone in a few weeks. I think a lot of us kind of thought that at the beginning. I definitely did not, I probably underreacted as opposed to overreacting. Well, by the time we landed in Chicago, got to my daughter's house, things were moving very rapidly. I heard that Disney and Universal were closing. I heard the restaurants were closing. I realized the airports were closing, and where was I, and where did I want to come back to? So I spent the entire 3 days just trying to get a flight to get home. And by the time we got back to Orlando, Southwest was awesome. All the flights were canceled. They put me on a flight with all pilots and flight attendants. They made a couple stops, but they got me back to Orlando because I was getting ready to drive because I had to be here when I heard all that was going on. And we received a directive from Tallahassee, the right call. We had to pivot from face-to-face to remote learning. And what an awesome task, and what kudos to our teachers and to our school leaders. You know, we have over 67,000 students. Not everybody has internet access. Not everybody has a computer. Not every teacher felt competent teaching remotely. So in 7 days, I believe that we did what I kept telling everybody: you made the impossible possible. We diverted. Well, was it great? No. Was it good? Yeah, it was good. I mean, we got kids working. We had a lot of glitches along the way. The curriculum was so-so. It really became teacher dependent, but we did the very best that we could, and actually had stellar results in some areas. We had a higher, for example, the advanced placement test, we had a higher percentage of students pass AP than we normally have had. We've been on a positive trajectory for 5-6 years, but we really upticked this year. And I reached out to some of our AP students, and they said the reason they did better, there were no distractions. They really honed in on those skills they needed for their test. They took their tests online, and they felt for them it was actually a better fit for the test preparation. My one neighbor, she's a senior this year, took 5 AP classes, and you get a 1 to 5 on the test. 5 is really hard to get. 3 is generally passing. She had 5 5s, and unheard of, but she said she was able to focus on what she had to do. So a lot of success stories came out of the remote. Getting every child a computer and getting them internet access. We did that. Verizon helped us. We purchased hotspots. I mean, the amount of energy and effort was worth it because we leveled the playing field for that period of time in terms of technology. And you know, your children and your grandchildren, they just take for granted internet access and having access to a computer, right? Most of them have a phone in their pocket. Right now I can ask you any question and you can look it up, and not every child has that opportunity. Every child should have that opportunity, but doesn't have that opportunity. And I will tell you, several years ago, I had the honor of being the Future Ready superintendent from Florida, and I got to go to Washington. And I just so happened I got into a little group from the FCC and learned very quickly that really the FCC tax dollars collected could really fund internet access for all children. And I've been preaching that for a long time. That money our nation should have internet access for every child, right? It should level the playing field. So we did it here in Seminole County, and again, it was not without hiccups, it wasn't without bumps. I wouldn't tell you everybody was satisfied, but I can tell you that 93% of our students connected continuously, 98% connected most of the time. So we did a really, really good job. Our greatest challenges were out in some of the Geneva areas with internet access. But we're a pretty dense area, so we had fewer challenges in more rural areas. So that was fourth quarter. We learned a lot about curriculum. We continued working from March until today to hone that remote craft, and out of that came Seminole Connect. So as we continue to meet with medical experts and scientific experts, this is not political for us. This is all medical and health driven. We were clearly told that families, we may not be opening schools. There's a lot of challenges, but more than that, a lot of unknowns, and we have to be flexible and we have to be fluid. And we learned early on, we came out just offering 2 choices for families. We realized this is here to stay, so we wound up offering 4 choices for our families. And the 4 choices, number 1 was face-to-face. That's where kids come back to school, have a teacher, and they're sitting there with their mask on. Choice number 2 was Seminole Connect. It was what we started to create fourth quarter that I just spoke about. Really, really improved it. And that's what we're offering right now, called Seminole Connect. We also offered our Seminole County Virtual School. That's a 10-year-old school, tried and true. It's a franchise of Florida Virtual School. We offer that, and then we offered a hybrid choice. And we learned very, very quickly. People were very emotional. People were scared, a lot going on, and we decided to wait as long as possible to let families make a choice, because it's easy to complain about something 8 weeks out when you really don't know. So we pushed, I don't think our work session was until like July 14th or something, and after that, we gave a choice. So what I created was probably pretty good for families, I created a nightmare for our schools because now they had to schedule all of these options that we put out there. And do the math, 67,000 kids, 7 sections per student, so 67,000 times 7, you have to build, what is that, almost 500,000 sections had to be built. So we have all that taking place. So yeah, on Monday we had our very first day. All students had to wear, and will continue to have to wear masks whenever they're not socially distanced, which at school is most of the time. I'd be a liar if I said we can always socially distance our students. It doesn't happen. I'm a former high school principal. When I was at Seminole High, 3,000 kids, we could have had 20 kids on campus. I would not have been able to socially distance them because they'd all sit on top of each other at lunch. It's just their nature. Schools are made for social interaction, not social distancing. You know, completely different. So the reopening piece went very, very well. We've provided every bit of protection that we can for our students, for our teachers. All of that is in place. I think the 2 things that are probably unique, we purchased misters for all of our schools, which means at the end of the day, any area that has any human contact gets completely misted in the evening. We purchased desk shields. They're not as good as masks, but it's another barrier of protection. We purchased face shields. Face shields maybe for some of our ESE students who can't tolerate a mask and need some special accommodations. Every bit of cleaning supply you could possibly imagine, gloves. We have everything out there ready to go for these first 9 weeks. We're now ordering for further out into the year. So our protection, the cleaning, the markings, all that you see at other commercial establishments will be brought to the schools. So we were prepared for the worst on Monday. I did a zillion interviews. On every interview, I said, it's going to be a bumpy start, be prepared for some issues, and on Monday, it went almost as well as a normal school day. Our greatest challenge is Seminole County Virtual School, and we knew it. We went from about 1,000 students to 12,000 students. That means I had to move 500 teachers from brick and mortar schools, mess up all the school schedules, and put them at virtual. They all had to get trained how to teach virtually, and then we had to schedule all those students. So we still, to this day, even today, we still have some parents patiently waiting for all the kids' schedules in virtual. Everything else is up and running. Face-to-face went extremely well. Seminole Connect, pretty well. We have some minor issues with that. Seminole County Virtual School, we're almost there. So no matter when we started, we had to rip off the Band-Aid at some point in time. We're going to have some challenges along the way. Our medical and our health experts were crystal clear to us. We had to start in August. We had an emergency order, right? So we had to start school. We had to offer face-to-face options in August. We could have kicked the can down the road 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. COVID's not going away. So we had to figure out how to meet the law and just rip off the Band-Aid to get this started. So we're the first district to start in Central Florida. Definitely have some minor hiccups. I think the real hiccups are going to come as we have COVID cases at the schools. We have a really good protocol that we've established with the health department and the medical community, but still, it's very newsworthy. People are very hungry to hear about that information, but we are prepared. I feel we're really, really confident for things that we've done.